Hi everyone. Today I want to dive deeper into the outreach log. You already have the basics. Hopefully, you've watched the YouTube video that goes over it, and many of you have already used it before. But now I want to show you some tips and tricks to make this more useful to you and more personalized. I love my outreach log. I use it all the time, and I want it to work best for me. What I share here may not be what works best for you, but they're all just ideas and they may get you thinking on ways you can personalize your log while keeping all the critical information intact. The first two things are simple. One, it drives me crazy when my content runs from one column to the next. So what I always do is select this corner right here and go to Format, Text Wrapping, and click on Wrapped. It's checked, but for some reason it comes undone all the time. So whenever you find that words just go from one column all the way over and don't look nice and neat in their box, simply do that. The next thing I like to do is reorganize the width of my columns. So if a column seems too long for the content you're putting in it, like this one here starts out this big, and I don't need it that big, and I want to see every column at the same time on my screen. So I minimize it. Simply go up to the top, see where your line does this, and you can move the columns. The second thing I like to do is add columns. I have added a column for phone numbers, and sometimes I like to add advisor's name. Here I go in, when I do my very first outreach before the term begins, I send a welcome email to every student, personally welcoming them to the class. And when I do that, I then come into here and manually enter each person's phone number, and if I do the advisor's name, that as well. This way, that information is right here for me, easy to find when I need it. If you want to do that, great, and if not, don't worry about it. The next thing I do is I use that same pre-term outreach that I do for every student, and I use the notes when the student posts their first introduction discussion board. This is where the students tell you all about themselves. So in here in my notes, I put, are they single? Are they married? Are they working? Are they, do they have, 2 children? Where are they from? Are they Eastern Standard Time or Mountain Time? All the things, what is their major? All the things I want to know about the student that will be helpful in me bonding with each student, I include here in the notes. That way, when I want to refer back to my students, the very first thing I see when it comes to that student is a little about them. I've saved my best tip for last, at least I think so. One of the things I struggle with my log the way it is keeping track of individual students and the specific communications I have. I find myself scrolling up and down through hundreds, as you can see. I'm on almost my 160th entry, and I'm only in week 5 currently. And so keeping track of the different communications and who I've reached out to has been a challenge. Well, I did a little research, and here's what I found. It takes a little work, but I think I have a pretty simple solution. The first thing you want to do is go to the top of your form, click on the number 1 where you have your categories, and copy that. Hit Control Copy. Down at the bottom, you're going to add a new sheet. Hit the plus sign. Now you need to go to column 2, skip 1, click on the 2, and do a Control V for paste. You should now see all your columns are right here. Once you've done that, click on C1. Click right in the box. Go up to Format. Nope. Go up to Data and select Validation. Change the criteria to List of Items, and here you're going to list every student's email in your class. It may take a minute or 2 to do this, but I promise you it's worth it. Now, I'm not going to use students' names in my class, so I'm going to do a couple fake emails. You comma in between and a space. When you're done, hit Save. Again, you want to do all of your students, so all 23. If you add a student later, you can simply go back up here to Data and go to validation and add the students. But it's very simple. Once you do that, you'll get a little drop down arrow and you'll see a list of students. When you have 23, the list is a little longer. It's that simple. The next thing you're going to do is click into box 3, and I am going to provide you in this communication a specific formula. Here it is. I have no idea what it means, and I've watched a video on it about 10 times. Don't worry about it. Put it in this box, do a control paste. Done. Once you've done that, you simply go up here and select your student's name. Now, you will see some things appeared. This is what's awesome. This sheet takes all the communications from your original form and brings them to this sheet. So, if this said Susie Q, every communication I had for Susie Q would show up on this sheet. All I have to do is select her. Now, if I select me, nothing's there. But I did put in a couple of fake ones for all. So, here's where it gets really good. You can go to your form, fill it in. I just did a fake one here, and hit submit. As you can see, that data automatically populated here. But what's really awesome is that it populated here as well. No work needed. You will need to set up your formatting again, so simply click here, go in and do text wrapping, and then go ahead and you can update all your conditional formats that you had before. They're here, but they all say L2, and you just need to, or F2 or whatever, and instead just put the letter followed by the letter and do done. And if you go through and update all those, then they'll carry over and be there while you work. One thing to note, you cannot add information into this viewing. So this is just where you can look at your information on your students into one page. If you want to update or add notes, you do need to go back. You do need to go back to your original document to add any information. Let me know if you have any questions.